As the world of Batman the Animated Series has continued onward, what if we bring in other obscure characters into the roster? What if Azrael arrived? This is the Comicstorian channel where we take some of your favorite trade paperbacks and single issues and we break them down into digestible bites so that I can read them dramatically back to you as a synopsis of the storyline, giving you most of the context but still leaving some out. The purpose is to give you a Saturday morning cartoon effect, a dramatic reading of your favorite storylines with your favorite superheroes. And then you can go out and buy the next issues or buy this issues at your local comic book store or at your digital retailer. Support the industry and keep this great industry moving. Today we're going to be covering issues 7 and 8 from Batman The Adventure Continues, the continuation of Batman the Animated Series. Now, when we last left off, we had discovered Deathstroke existed in this universe, and we also discovered that there was a mysterious man, which we all know to be Jason Todd / Red Hood, running around in the background. But it's time for another obscure character to pop up into the Batman mythos once again. And if you enjoy this type of content, please consider pressing that like button, joining the Comicstorian army, or become a kamikaze, and press that notification button to turn on your notifications as YouTube has unsubscribed many of my viewers. Here we go. Batman gives chase as Catwoman leaps off of the rooftop, wondering whether Tim is right, and he chases her for longer than he really needs to. But as he manages to grab the jewels that she stole away from her, Selina turns, blowing him a kiss, continuing to run. She doesn't get far though, as a bolo wraps around her body, and as she begins to fall, a new masked hero leaps out, catching her. Batman quickly follows, hooking his grappling hook to a water tower and leaping after them, but the stranger draws a flaming sword, cutting through the water tower supports. Batman begins to fall again, but manages to catch himself and swing away. In the nearby alleyway, the stranger drops Catwoman to the floor. "Who are you? A substitute member of the Bat Gang, or just a wannabe?" she asks, and the masked man lowers his flaming blade to her. "I am of the Order of Saint Dumas. Where is the shawl?" he demands, and suddenly a batarang is thrown, knocking the sword out of the warrior's hand. He leaps at Batman, punching him, demanding that he stay away. But Batman dodges, and the two begin to trade blows back and forth again. Suddenly, Batman throws down a smoke bomb, forcing the warrior to run as he begins to cough. "You are always a trickster! Next time!" Batman returns to Catwoman with her brushing him off, and he takes her hand. "It's a vengeful god who rules the Order of Saint Dumas. You better tell me, otherwise there will be no rest for you." He pulls her in close, asking her, "Trust me." And she finally agrees. So a short amount of time passes, and Batman stands by while the GCPD takes her in, promising to put a guard on her when suddenly his comms buzz and Alfred's voice fills the air. "Pardon me, sir, but your presence is requested at home as soon as possible." When he arrives, he finds Jean-Paul Valley there, an old associate and friend from when he trained with the monks at Saint Dumas. So Jean-Paul removes the Azrael mask and he explains that he is scouring the city for the shawl of Lady Magdalene, and he thought that the costume and armor would make the criminal element fear him. They discuss it for a little while about how Azrael thinks that Catwoman is working with the enemy. But what's decided is that Bruce and Alfred will make a Bat Ally suit of armor for him, so he looks like an ally, not an enemy. The two of them then find themselves in front of Oswald Cobblepot, aka the Penguin, with Batman growling at him. "All I want is the shawl, Penguin." But Penguin shakes his head, explaining that he only acted as a middleman and the shawl itself is already gone. As they begin to get just a little rough with the Penguin, he calls in one of his goons who steps in and reaches for the two Dark Knights. The strange, large Birdman picks them both up, squawking his delight. "First week on the job and I'm icing Batman and this loser! Looks like I've got a bonus coming," Mr. Wing shouts. But both Batman and Azrael kick out, hitting the man in the stomach, knocking him down. "You take out the Birdman, Cobblepot is mine!" Azrael shouts as he begins to give chase to the Penguin. Batman doesn't waste any time, quickly dispatching the large enemy and then rushing out to see what's going on. And that's when he finds Azrael holding a bloody Penguin over the edge of a building. "He was most cooperative," Azrael tells Batman. "Though, of course, since he was Catwoman's employer, the Order demands that he must suffer in her place." And with that, Azrael lets Penguin go. He plummets through the air but is quickly caught by Batman, and when he turns back, Azrael himself is gone. He rushes down to the Batmobile and begins to search for Azrael, knowing that by the time Penguin is able to inform him of where Azrael went, it'll be too late. But at that moment, Alfred chimes in, informing Batman that there's been a grave robbery that might interest him. Later on, Azrael is slipping through the shadows of an Iceland skating rink and finds the shawl draped over a female body. Clearly, my quarry knew of its power, but not of its limitations. At that moment, a blast of icy rays hits the wall near him. "I should have known!" I understand your grief, friend, Azrael tries to tell Mr. Freeze, realizing that Victor had cured Nora for a time, but her disease came back and ravaged her body once more. I don't need tears, holy man. I need the shawl. He ignores Azrael's words about how the shawl won't heal dead bodies. I won't lose her again. And he raises his weapon, blasting Azrael, freezing him in place. Shortly after, Batman slips into the closed rink, finding a frozen Azrael in the shadows. But Freeze is suddenly behind him, shooting his ice rays. Batman whirls, kicking over the table that Nora's body lies on, and Freeze shouts, reaching for his wife's body. Anger flashes across his face as he vows to make Batman pay, but the Dark Knight throws a batarang that lodges into his helmet. It slowly begins to vibrate faster and faster, cracking the glass and shattering it. And Freeze screams out as warm air touches his skin. But Batman picks up the freeze ray, encasing Mr. Freeze's head in ice, saving him. He uses the same trick to bust Azrael out of the ice, but finds that his former friend's pulse is almost non-existent. He turns, seeing the shawl that is said to have these healing abilities that Batman doesn't believe in, but he has no choice, grabbing it and wrapping it around a former ally. Later, at the Church of St. Dumas, Batman lights a candle for Freeze and Nora. You surprise me, Bruce. There's a passion behind the grim facade that you've adopted. One might almost call it saintly. John Paul notes as he walks across the church to return the shawl to its rightful place. I owe my life to you, and the shawl, of course. The two turn and they walk out of the church, with Jean Paul promising that he won't be as impulsive next time. If you need me, just call. Elsewhere in the city, our mysterious stranger is looking through his binoculars, watching the Joker play solitaire in his secret hideout. And there you have it, the continuation of Batman, the animated series continuation right here at Comicstorian. This was voted on by our Patreons, patreon.com/Comicstorian. They voted on these two very long series, Batman and Wolverine current day, so it's taking me a bit of time to get through these, but I hope you guys enjoyed it, and maybe you want to consider joining our next vote right over there. Don't forget, if you want to know about our videos, hit that notification button and turn it on, as many people have not been getting our notifications, and I don't know why. That's just what YouTube does here. But don't forget to hit like and smash that subscribe button and join the Comicstorian Army or the Kamikazes, whatever you want to call it. Thank you so much for your support, and I'll see you next time right here.